time. What is time? We have time for all kinds of things. Time when we go to work, time when we go to school. We all have a bedtime. We have time when we go to church. And we tell time on a clock. And the church tells time in a special way that's a little bit like a clock. We like to think of time as a line that just moves. And there's a beginning of the time, and then there's an end of the time. But what does it look like if we take the beginning of the time and the end of the time and wrap them together? Just like our days that start and end at 12 o'clock, our church time starts and ends just like a clock. Everything that we need for the whole church year is in here. Everything that teaches us all the stories, the time in between the stories that we need to grow. And while the regular clock has numbers on it, the church helps us tell time with colors. There are 3 great times in the church. There's Christmas, there's Easter, and Easter is such a great time that we can't confine it to 1 week. It actually goes on for 7 weeks, Easter Sunday, and then the 6 weeks after. And then the last great church time, the most important church time, is Pentecost. And we always say that Pentecost is hot. That's why it's red. It's the only red in the whole church calendar. Because these times are so special, Christmas, Easter, and Pentecost, we need time to get ready for these times. In our church, these 4 blue weeks that come before Christmas, we call those Advent. And the blue helps us to remember Mary, Jesus' mother. In some churches, Advent's purple. We use blue because we don't want to confuse Advent with the weeks that we use to get ready for Easter. The 6 weeks of Lent. And we have 6 weeks for Easter and the 4 weeks for Christmas. Easter's a way more complicated mystery than Christmas is. I think we can all understand Christmas, so we need some more time to get into it. And we think of these whole 7 weeks of Easter as the time that helps us get ready for the wonderful miracle of Pentecost. And the reason why Pentecost is so special is because Pentecost is still with us today. That's the part of the story that's still with us. And in between these special seasons of the year, we have these green weeks. We call these the great green growing weeks of our church year that we use to help us think about and work through all of the special stuff we learned in those 3 great special times of the year. Now, if you think of every one of these blocks is a week. There are 52 blocks in all. So this is the whole year. This is what the time of the church looks like when you take it apart. And when you go into church in each of these times, you'll notice the vestments that the clergy wears and the different hangings around church will match these colors. Sometimes they'll be blue, sometimes they'll be purple, sometimes they'll be white. That one very special week, they're red, and then the rest of the time, they're green. So if we go back and put our church year back together, it just goes back the same way. We have Christmas, Easter. But remember, Easter is 7 weeks long. And then we have Pentecost. that special red Sunday it's still hot, it's still with us. The 4 weeks before Christmas are Advent. It's usually right around Thanksgiving and then through to Christmas. And then the 6 weeks before Easter are known as Lent. And then our green seasons, we put 9 blocks between Christmas and the beginning of Lent because Easter moves around. Sometimes it's early, sometimes it's late, but there are never more than 9 weeks between Christmas and Lent. And then the rest of the year over here is our other great green growing season. Because Easter moves, Pentecost moves as well, because Pentecost is 50 days after Easter. So sometimes you're still in school when Pentecost happens, and sometimes the summer's already started. So you think of this green time on this other side of our clock is your summer vacation. It's when you're going back to school, Thanksgiving, Halloween. Those are all the weeks over here. And you have a week in here somewhere as well. Whenever your birthday is, there might be other special days. So you can figure out where you are on the clock. We put Christmas up at the top because that's just an easy way to keep time. But it's a circle, so you can move it around however you want. And wherever it starts, it stops again and starts again in a circle. Our time moves as a circle. It's a cycle. So the stories come back around, the celebrations come back around, and the chances to grow and learn from the stories all come back around. Right now, as we're going back to school, we're right about over here somewhere. So as you count down, you can see Christmas coming too, which is fun. And that is how we tell time in the church.